Are you good to go?
I'm good.
Okay. I look who
Are you good to go?
never good to go. Hello everyone. Here I am sitting with Stolie. How are you, Stolie?
I'm fantastic.
I am so happy that you came because we had a chance to connect briefly during the volunteer fair.
Hmm.
That's where that was the first time that I got a chance to learn about your library pursuit. But before we dive into that, tell me a little bit about how you ended up in Puerto Vallarta to begin with, and how long ago was that?
Okay. So I am originally from Chicago. I had studied Spanish through high school, a little bit in college, and was revisiting it, wanted to do an immersion program. So a lot of signs pointed to Guadalajara. So I went there for a program, then visited Puerto Vallarta for vacation, and fell in love for all the reasons we all do. And I was like, how do I fashion my life to spend more time there and then really focus on being in a better climate and doing some music and all the things I love in the wintertime, away from Chicago winter.
Stop. Because you just brought up such a beautiful and important question. How do I fashion my life?
Mm.
Because it requires some planning. I think a lot of people end up moving here just on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
What's your strategy like?
For fashioning that lifestyle?
Yeah,
Well, okay. Since this could be a very long interview, but
that's okay.
what I usually like to roll back to is after my first 5-day vacation in Vallarta, and I fell in love, and I was like, how do I fashion my life to involve more of this? And I called a good friend of mine who's a life coach, and she said, write down your ideal schedule for a week. And I said, but I want two different schedules. I want here in the winter and there in the summer. And so she said, write down two schedules. So that's what I did. And I put in those schedules everything that would light me up during each of those, like whatever kind of gigs, whatever kind of physical activity, whatever kind of friendships or extra things I wanted to do. And then I sold a bunch of stuff. I started Airbnb-ing my extra bedroom in Chicago so that I could pay my mortgage while I was here paying rent. And yeah, just was like, how do I make it balance between really an international lifestyle with two home bases?
And when did that vision become a reality?
I mean, right away. This was 2015, January of 2015 that I was first here. For 5 days, and that fall I came for 5 months the first time. I was just like, let's see if I can make it work. And I had enough money that I thought could pay my rent for 5 months, and then I was like, let's see what happens, and just went full blind faith on jumping into this community and entertainment scene.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Now, a lot of people know you as a musician, but somewhere along the line, you became a mother,
When could that be?
you became an author,
Yeah.
and you opened a library. I'm most intrigued about the last few ones. How and when did you become a mother, and how did you write a book for your daughter, right?
Mhm.
And then the library, like, break it down.
What a game changer motherhood is. So alongside of being a musician, as most people know me, I also am a children's musician, which I've been doing for almost 20 years as Super Stolie. So when people hear me here, I'm just regular Stolie. But as Super Stolie, I perform and have performed for children, mostly libraries, park districts, birthday parties for 10 years. Usually that's what I go back for in the summer to Chicago, is to do that kind of work. And so in 2020, we all remember 2020,
Yes.
but I have several reasons to recall that year. I found myself pregnant 10 days before worldwide shutdown. So that kind of changed my trajectory as a musician. All of my summer children's music shows were canceled, but transitioned to virtual programs. So I learned a lot of video editing, and I was, yeah, in front of a green screen that whole summer, growing,
And being super Stolie.
being super Stolie and becoming a mom and yeah, just shifting some of my life purpose, whether I liked it or not. It was like, here we go.
Super Stolie in confinement.
What did we say? There was a word everybody used.
Lockdown?
Well,
Pain in the neck?
I I don't know if you saw it, but it was May of 2020 that I released a song called Little Spoon that was written while I was in my confinement in my apartment in Versailles. And nobody knew I was pregnant. And I wasn't out on the town, which was better because then I wasn't around drinking or smoking or anything. And I was just like, had this secret while everybody else was in their own houses doing whatever. And so I wrote this song called Little Spoon about my quarantine partner. And I released it in May of 2020 as my pregnancy reveal song. And by that time, I had learned how to do a split screen. So there's 4 Stolies playing 4 different instruments and singing this song. And at the end, I have a little baby onesie that says, Hecho en Mexico. So that's how I told the world that I was pregnant. And then it was like, it's a girl. The 3 backup singers go, it's a girl, and then turned it over and said, es una niña.
Oh, I have to look for this.
Yeah. I mean, it's on YouTube.
And just to give you a little bit of perspective, you're talking about May of 2020. I started Coffee and Headlines on March 30th of that year with complete uncertainty of what the future was going to hold.
Wow.
And now it's been 5 years, and here we are.
Yeah. And Emmeline is 4.5.
And how did the whole pursuit of a library, well, obviously, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I'm going to guess that you figured, I want my child to read in English and Spanish, and where do I find the books? Tell me the story of the library, or tell me the story of the book. Which one do you want to tell me first?
Well, they kind of go hand in hand.
Go for it.
But let me scroll back to the library. So when my daughter was growing up, I was, as a baby even, I was reading to her as much as I could to expose her to books, turning the page, words. And yes, bilingualism was a priority. Her father is Mexican, and so I wanted her to know English and Spanish. And finding books for children here was difficult and expensive. Mm-hmm. And the library culture where I come from is very accessible. And I was missing that here. So I was like, even if it just means people keep donating books, can't we make a library for kids? And so I threw it up on Facebook, New Dream Alert, and it started happening.
I love it. New Dream Alert.
Yeah, in capital letters, some emojis. And July will be 3 years since I posted that. And we now are branded, have a website, almost 3,000 books cataloged in our digital system. I have a series of volunteers. A lot of them are mothers with children who are bilingual in whichever form the parents may be. And we're just taking every step forward.
Now, a little bird told me that you're looking for a new space for the library.
This
is that topic. Impending or?
Whew. That's a question straight to my heart, because right now the library lives inside of my home, which is near Pitial, near Macro Plaza.
So anybody could make an appointment to come, or do you have open hours?
We have open hours a few days a month so that we can just control it's in my house. So I can clean and then open the doors and have a couple volunteers help me, just help the families who come through. It's slow progressing now because it is in my home. I feel like we can open up big promotion when we have a really public space, but it's also like, how do we fund it and where is it going to be? So I've been searching. We have recently established as a nonprofit based in the United States.
501c3.
Right.
Okay.
With plans to become a Mexican AC, but that'll be the next step, I think, once we establish that this is something that's really working and growing and desired and helpful for the community, which I already believe, but we just want some legwork behind that. So with the nonprofit in mind, we're believing that we can get contributions, donations to help support a public space. But that's a big step. It's big, it's a little scary, and but the best decisions I've made in life were built on, let's jump off this cliff and see what happens.
So it sounds like we are. I'm sorry to say we, but I feel like
Yeah,
I'm already
come
involved
on in.
here. We're reaching out for in two directions. Number one, we want people to get an idea of what the experience of the library is.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody may watch, and I hope somebody that is watching will want to bring their children and have them experience the library. So there's that vision. And then there's, of course, the other vision, which is we need a permanent home for this. Let's break down the first one,
Mm-hmm.
if we can. Let's say that I'm a parent. I just watched this interview and I'm like, oh my goodness, a bilingual library for children. Sign me up. I want to go. I want to check it out. What would be the procedure?
Easiest place to start is our website, which is labibmex.com. And BiB stands for Biblioteca Infantil Bilingüe. So we say Children's Bilingual Library. Eventually, it could be more languages, but our first focus is Spanish and English. We have books in English, Spanish, and bilingual. They're harder to find and less accessible. And we have books from baby board books through like teenager chapter books.
Uh-huh.
So all you have to do is show up during open hours, which are listed on the
On the
website and
website.
all our socials. And you just come, sign up. It's a free account. We just get your info, phone number, email. And for now, I always want this library to be a free initiative for families. It's what I'm used to, and I feel like that just will serve the best way. We'll see what it grows into otherwise, but it's free. It's free, and for right now, there's no limit to the amount of books you can borrow, and there's no time limit. We hope that this becomes something that is respected, that people do actually take care of those books and know how many there are and bring them back at some point in good condition. And, I always believe a book isn't meant to have one owner. Unless that one owner is going to read it over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life. Let's recycle it. And yeah, it's easy as that.
And so how long ago did you open the library then?
I'd like to say we officially opened February of 23. We were gifted a space in Eddie's American English Tree Language School when they were in Versailles. But then they had to move to Plaza Caracol, and it didn't feel like the right fit for our project. So that's when I moved all the books back to my house. And so then we kind of reopened January last year, starting to do these open house dates in my home. And gradually it's been growing. We've painted, we have someone building bookshelves, more books keep coming. I have volunteers helping log them. So I don't know, we've almost had, right now we're looking for BiB 3.0 for our third home, which
Uh-huh.
we're following the lead of Frida's. BiB 3.0.
I love it.
And so, yeah, it's hard to say. We've opened a couple times, but every time is going to be a new phase. And I hope that the next one is the step that's really going to.
So if a genie showed up here at Cafe Rio at the Joint Boutique Hotel in Cowork, thank you, and said, I can make this happen, what is necessary for La BiB 3.0 to manifest itself?
Yeah. So the basic needs are more space. We have about a 3 by 5 meter room right now. So doubling that space would be ideal. Even more space would be a dream. I would love to have music and storytime classes for children and their caretakers. That is the basic need of it. Some temperature control and a bathroom. Boom. Those are the basic needs in a central neighborhood. We're loving somewhere around Macro Plaza or Los Sauces. They just got a new park. It's awesome in the Los Sauces Park.
Yes.
We've been there 3 times already this week. So because we want to still be somewhere that's central to residential families, and we even have families coming from Bucerias and Mezcales, and then families that live down in Garza Blanca. So it's hard to pick what's central to start.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're a big city.
Yeah,
We're
and
a big
growing.
city. Yes.
And speaking of growing, the plan would be like, let's start somewhere, and then eventually we would have different library hubs or branches. Well, one hub, branches, and then be able to serve more and more communities. But I know we can't start serving everybody. So it's like, okay, let's hone it in. But the bigger dream is like indoor air conditioned theater for programs and a awesome outdoor playground with a splash pad and shade and free public clean bathrooms. Free. Not 5 pesos, not 10 pesos, free. Yeah, and more classes. I would love to even expand to having programs with adult expats who sit down with a teenage bilingual or child who's reading another language to just hear a native language, to be working on that. The focus is literacy. The focus is bilingualism. We are here in this culture where I think it's really important for people more than just getting by to be integrated. And
Oh, absolutely.
it starts with the kids.
Absolutely. Before we talk about your book, which I'm also very curious about,
I have a show and tell.
is there anything that we haven't discussed that has to do with the library, your mission, your dream, the way for people to connect?
I think anybody interested in this project, the best place to start is at our website, labibmex.com. And if you are on social media, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. If you would like to be involved, we need always more books, and you can check in with me about what we're looking for. If you want to buy new books for us, awesome. If you want to collect them over the summer up in Canada or the US and bring them down in a suitcase, you can be a book angel for us. That helps build our collection, which is awesome. I also would love to have more volunteers who are helping with our opening hours, helping with pop-up outreach events, eventually fundraising.
Oh my goodness. Very ambitious, but very worthwhile. I think this is absolutely wonderful, Stolie. And I hope some of this information resonates with people that watch this interview. What a great opportunity to give back to the community. And I wish you very much success with it.
Thank you so much.